Hey kids, welcome to Southside. I'm so excited that you're here with us today. My name is Miss Ansley, in case you don't know who I am, and we are just going to talk a little bit about a Bible story that I personally love so much, and I just wanted to share it with you. So today we are talking about a story of a miracle that Jesus performed, okay? So let's just, close your eyes if you have to, but let's just imagine what the story looks like when I tell it. All right, so Jesus is in a remote spot. So think about a place that not a lot of people would go to, okay? So let's see, I'm trying to think of a place, maybe the desert, okay? So let's imagine that we're in the desert. Not a lot of people go there. It's very empty, all right? So Jesus is there, and there's a huge crowd of people that come, and they want to just hear what Jesus has to say. So Jesus is going to teach to them. Well, his disciples looked at him after he had taught to these people, and he was like, the people are tired, they need to go home. And Jesus was like, no, we have to feed them first. They're hungry, they need to eat something. Well, the disciples looked at Jesus and they said, Jesus, we don't have any food to give them. Like, we have what we have, and it's not enough for all of these people. Well, here's a really cool part of the story. There was a little boy in the crowd, okay? And he had brought a snack just for himself. Well, this little boy, so he's probably about your age, he walked up to Jesus and he was like, here's what I have. All it was 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, okay? And Jesus looked at it, and then he looked up to God and he said, thank you so much for providing this food. Then Jesus started breaking off the bread and breaking off the fish, and the disciples handed it out to this huge crowd of people, and they all ate until their tummies were full. And then the disciples came back to Jesus after all the people had been fed, and there were 12 baskets of food left over. All right, now here's kind of the crazy part. How many people do you think were in this huge crowd? Can you guess? If you said anywhere close to 5,000 people, you are right, okay? So 5,000 people Jesus fed off of 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and then there were 12 baskets left over. Okay, does that seem pretty crazy? I mean, it seems pretty crazy to me, right? We could never imagine something like that happening, but God and Jesus, they can make stuff like that happen. So this little boy, let's talk about him for a second. So he came to hear Jesus speak, and he brought his own snack, probably because his mom told him to, because she knew that he was going to get hungry, and he had his snack for himself. But he saw Jesus talking about wanting to feed these 5,000 people, and he looked at his snack. So imagine that you're looking at your 5 loaves of bread and your 2 fish, and you go, but I can give this, and maybe God will give and be able to give abundantly above anything that he could ever think. So this little boy put his faith and trust in Jesus and gave him all that he had, and God was able to multiply it so much that there were leftovers. So I just want you to take that for a second and think about anything that you have, okay? Last week we talked about a candy bar that you could share. All right, think about your time that you have, or your talents, or your treasures. And it might not be a lot, and you might look at a huge crowd and go, I can't give this little bit and it be able to bless this whole crowd of people. But just the thing that I want you to learn today is that if you can put your trust in God, okay, and you go, I only have 1 Reese's cup and there are 5 people around me. God, I'm going to trust that you're going to be able to share this 1 Reese's cup with these 5 people, okay? And God is a God who loves and wants to give, and he is going to be able to bless that and just as long as we put our trust in Him, He will give us more than what we could ever imagine. So this week, I want you to think about things that you have, and maybe it's not a lot, okay? But I want you to think about what God can do and how God can multiply that little bit that you have and be able to bless more people than you could ever imagine. Well, I will talk to y'all later.